transcendence, renewal, outreach, and networking. Today is your day to find your metron, and we hope you enjoy the service.
Good morning, beautiful people. Give yourselves a big hand for being here on this beautiful day in September. I was about to announce my artist, but I think he's left the building. He came and set up, and then he left. I'm very thankful that a few minutes ago, Michelle texted me and said, "Are you just going to wing it today?" And I'm like, "No, why?" Because I never got the outline. I said, "I sent it on Friday." I was so happy I sent it on Friday. As a matter of fact, when she texted me, I was sitting there meditating on it, looking over my notes. Oh, this is going to be so good. I'm so glad. You're supposed to hit the send button. Like, there it was on there. But yeah, well, she got it. I'm just so happy you asked, because I would have been, where's my outline? Anyway, it is going to be good today. And I know, thanks for your reception of Zach last week. I thought that went really well. He's a good guy and in the flow with us. And then we'll be back in our zone today. I think what we talked about last week complemented what we're talking about this month. So it's line upon line, precept upon precept. Always happy when we can have Judah with us, and we're happy to have Stacy with us as well today. And Judah always brings something very special and unique, and I know today will be no exception. So without any further ado, would you please welcome our Artist of the Month, Pastor Judah Swilley. Judah.
Today is going to be a good day. It's already a good day, amen? Man, the weather's been good. So yeah, Stacy's with us for a minute today. She's got to go to work in a little bit, so if you see her get up, it's not because she's mad at me. I mean, she may be mad at me, but she's also going to work. So it's all good. Yes. I'm just gonna play with this for a second. There we go. Man, I'm happy to be here today. I'm always happy to be here, but especially when I can sit down at the piano for a minute. I'm gonna start out with a little original, but this is a unplugged version of this song called Revolution. I'm running so many circles around you turtles like turtles. I'm jumping the first strappy girl like Jesse Owens. I'm unnerving, I'm freaking Nazis. I'm fertile, constantly birthing and murdering. Going and going, they turn in the giving, it turns up for gerbils. I'm rabid, it's habit, gotta have it worse than nerds that have Virgo try to convert y'all. Y'all more stubborn than them, you calling me your gotta need press cause they need more. Feed yourself in the bazillion fictional chronicles they made about me cause they chronically hate me. Jealousy, they wanna see me go barnacles. Barnacles it is, then here I go. All the way from the bottom of the sea. See, I'm a sea star under a rock like Patron. I'm about to rise up from the ashes. Phoenix is magic, y'all are too stubborn to predict this. Simple-minded, jacked out, dirty rap bastard. You forgotten who your daddy is. Master creator Jah, he created me a track star. This is NASCAR and I'm burning y'all. We need a revolution. Hey, it's the only solution. Is oh, revolution. Hey, it's the only solution. Everybody pause the melancholy, I'm sorry. Hip-hop's gone backwards, I'm a dolly. I'm boycotting this puppy cocky. Stop robbing the prodigy and know it's novelty. But I'm not impressed by copying and pasting Appleseed. Anyone can plagiarize, but I guess to repress labels you gotta reflect the rest. Original is criminal, these days you're minimal. If you're prototypical, it's subliminally killing them. Oh my God, save us from the Xerox. I'm out for the carbon copies, the Matlock was ever the bandits who ran and almost vanished from thin air. I'ma capture the red-handed and not offend the innocent, authentic to the death. I'll be the voice for the people you went deaf on, stepped on. I play me Duff, you play me Beth. Revolution is the only solution that's left. We need a Hey, it's the only solution is red. Oh, revolution. Hey, it's the only solution. Everybody gets a cone and a copy, nobody's working originality, just a bunch of cocky idiotic kind of supersonic headache, cut it, probably did it. Well, I wanna make you wanna put yourself and then I'm gonna take a shot at your own head, forget it. Rap kind of this, I surrender and quit it. If I'm losing myself with the ish, spitting ridiculous lines, take a rippy and a rippy, and living efficient, I'm fixing to lose my freaking mind. Take a rhyme, chop them up and sell them in pies with the tonic in my eye. Bossy woman, night in the mic, go Taliban on the mind. Boom, boom, dynamite, that's right. Everybody can't be a rapper, you're whack, disaster is my business. Hip-hop's in ICU and I'm the physician. I'ma save hip-hop, God is my witness. We need a revolution. Hey, it's the only solution is red. Oh, revolution. Hey, it's the only solution is revolution. Hey, it's the only solution is red. Oh, revolution. Hey, it's the only solution. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Nothing wrong with a little hip hop on a Sunday morning, right? Charles, can we get a little more piano in the system for me? So let's just close our eyes for a second. Just want you to be comfortable today in the presence of God and worship however you're comfortable. If that means sitting, then sit. If that means standing, then stand. If you want to meditate, then meditate. Whatever makes you feel at home. Over the mountains and the sea, your river runs with love for me. And I will open up my heart and let the healer set me free. I'm happy to be in the truth, and I will daily lift my hands, for I will always sing. When your love came down, yeah, I could sing of your love forever. I could sing of your love forever, God. I could sing of your love forever. I could sing of your love forever, God. Over the mountains and the sea, your river runs with love for me. And I will open up my heart and let the healer set me free. I'm happy to be in the truth, and I will daily lift my hands, for I will always sing. When your love came down, Lord, I could sing of your love forever. I could sing of your love forever, God. I could sing of your love forever. I could sing of your love forever, Lord. I could sing of your love forever. I could sing of your love forever, God. I could sing of your love forever. I could sing of your love forever, God. Oh, forever. Oh, forever. Oh, forever. Yeah. Oh, forever. Yeah. Come on, just close your eyes and let the week just pass away. Whatever you've been facing in these last few days. You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. You call me by my name. I have born again into your family. Your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. Arms of the Father. Oh, you have chosen me. Yes, I am a child of God. I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. Perfect fit, perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Come on, sing that out. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Doesn't it feel good? Who the Son sets free, who is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, in my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. You have chosen me, not forsaken me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forgotten. I am who you say I am. Come on. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. I am for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. This week I've been thinking about that phrase, I am. There's power in every word you speak, but particularly when you preface it with I am. Whatever comes next is going to be powerful. The greatest act of creation that a creator can do is to create other creators. God has created you and given you creative power, creative ability. God is a co-author of your life. So you are who he says you are, but you're also a co-author. So you are who you say you are. So as I was singing this week, and as it's been in my spirit, I just changed it a little bit and said, I am who I say I am. Because every word that I speak comes to pass. Because I create my destiny. I create my future. So let's try that. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who I say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who I say I am. I am for me, not against me. Say, I am who I say I am. I am for me, not against me. Say, I am who I say I am. Say, I am who I say I am. Come on. Say, I am who I say I am. Oh, say, I am who I say I am. Say, I am who I say I am. Say, I am who I say I am. I am peace. I am love. Say, I am who I say I am. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am who I say I am. I am holy. I am righteous. I am who I say I am. I am wholeness. I am peace. Say, I am who I say I am. I am joy. I am happy. I am who I say I am. I am who I say I am. I am who I say I am. It's who I am, who I am, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am, it's who I am, it's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. Well, this love so unconditional. unexplainable. I can hardly speak. Peace so unexplainable. I can hardly think, 'cause you know just what I need before I say a word. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. Who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. Who I am. Who the sun sets free, who is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am for me. I am for me, not against me. I am who I say I am. Come on, claim it. I am for me, not against me. Say, I am who I say I am. Come on, there's power today. I am for me, not against me. I am who I say I am. Oh, I am for me, not against me. I am who I say I am. I am who I say I am. I am who I say I am. Come on, just lift your hands today. There is power here. Whatever you claim in this atmosphere right now is yours. Speak it out. Whatever you need, speak it out. Oh, it's in this atmosphere today. Oh, there's healing today, yeah. Healing of your body, healing of your mind. I am who I say I am. I am who I say. The power of the Holy Spirit. The power of the Holy Spirit says I am who I say I am. 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 I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. Come on, one more time. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. One more time all together. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. Amen.
Yeah, Judah Swilley. Hang on. That was awesome. I'll talk about the spiritual part of it. Would you just, I love that first song you did. Would you just do a little bit more of it? That was really, no, would you just do it again? Yeah. I want to hear the stuff you were saying. Y'all can sit down. I just think it's really cool.
Okay. So the stuff I'm saying is not very spiritual, but
The parts I was picking up was cool. Just do a little bit of that. If you don't do the whole thing, but just do a little bit, because I thought that was really...
I have to purposely slur my words sometimes. He was like, maybe I shouldn't say that in church. So, yeah, you know. It's funny.
Y'all don't mind hearing it again, do you?
He said, y'all don't mind hearing it, do you? Okay. Got quiet. Okay.
That was that kind of... Well, I guess they don't want to hear it. Never mind. Thanks for coming.
I'm running so many circles around your turtles like hurdles. I'm jumping the first strap your girdles like Jesse Owens. I'm unnerving them freaking Nazis. I'm fertile, constantly birthing and murdering. I keep going and going, eternally infinite. Terms are for gerbils. I'm rabid, it's habit. Gotta have it worse than nerds had to have Urkel. Try to convert y'all, but y'all more stubborn than a mule. Call them Eeyore. Got them depressed cause they need more. Feed yourself on the bazillion fictional chronicles they made about me, cause they chronically hate me. It's jealousy, they wanna see me go barnacles. Well, barnacles it is, then here I go, all the way from the bottom of the sea. See, I'm a sea star under a rock like a chart. I'm about to rise up from the ashes. Phoenix, it's magic. Y'all are too stubborn to predict it. Simple-minded jackasses, backstabbers, dirty rap bastards. You've forgotten who your daddy is. Master creator Jah, he created me a track star, and this is NASCAR. I'm burning y'all. Y'all were created to stop, and I was created to rock. That's that one verse. I'll do a little bit more. The power's in the people and the people of the music. Music's what moves them, but it's useless when it's stupid. Mind-numbing lyrics, pair of losers who are fooling all of you into thinking that there's something, but they're really puppets. Who's the puppet master? Who's Geppetto? Got you lying to your nose along in stilettos. Lost in an alley like a wrong in the mezzo. People starving for something real, all you built was some Legos. I'm smashing records like Bam Bam Bigelow. Sucker MCs are like roaches when they're running though. Eating my crumbs unfinished, your dinner's what I didn't go. I roam like a lion, y'all follow like a billy goat. Silly quotes, weakness pours from your mental notes. I make the most of life, then I write what you never wrote. Really silly, got them feeling me like the Holy Ghost. I lay them out with the power you thought you had, but you don't. That's one of them. Gotta go to work. One of us has to make some money. No, I'm playing.
What'd you say?
I said one of us has to go make some money. All right, one more. Everybody pause the melancholy. I'm sorry, hip-hop's gone bass backwards. Lama Dali, I'm boycotting this poppycocking. Stop robbing the prodigy. I know it's novelty, but I'm not impressed by copying and pasting. Appleseed, anyone can plagiarize, but I guess to impress labels, you gotta reflect the rest. Original is criminal, these days you're minimal. If you're prototypical, it's subliminally killing them all. My God, save us from the Xerox. I'm after the carbon copies like Matlock was after the bandits who ran and almost vanished from thin air. I'ma capture them red-handed, and I'll defend the innocent, authentic to the death. I'll be the voice for the people you went deaf on, stepped on. I play Macduff, you play Macbeth. Revolution is the only solution that's left.
Cheers, Swilley! I love it, I love it, I love it. That's my boy. Good stuff. Thanks. You may be seated. Hey, Samantha, do you mind if can I read the message you sent me now that I've asked you publicly? I posted a little bit of it, but is that okay? It just really encouraged me. I want to read. Hey, y'all. Yeah, you mentioned NASCAR. It's like having a pit crew taking this taking this apart. If I can find it. By the way, just so you know, when you send me a message, if I just answer with an emoji or something, I'm not being dismissive. It's just, it's a lot going on. I read everything. I can't write it all out. I think most of y'all know that. Like if you got a prayer request and I say I'm in agreement, I'm serious. I'm in agreement. I don't need to write you a whole bunch of stuff. Well, now I can't. The devil is a lie. Where is? No. By the way, Deb Muleson, if you're watching, I don't know why. Never mind. Well, now I got to say it. Sometimes I send pictures to an app because I'm working on them, and I'm sending them to myself. And for some reason on my phone, it sends it to Jim Muleson. I keep sending pictures of myself to Jim. I don't know why. I said, Jim, I'm seriously not sending them to you. I don't know why. My phone's it's weird. It's like it likes on stuff that I didn't like on. It starts playing music I didn't play, and I start to take it in to trade in, and then it'll straighten up, and I'm like, okay, are you through with whatever you were doing? So well, yeah, and it's just pictures of me. It's not like it's naked pictures or something. It's just. I'm sure he's wondering like, why the hell are you sending me pictures? I'm like, Jim, I shouldn't even joke like that. Where is this thing? All right. You what? She says, hello, Bishop. Being back in the building has been amazing and long overdue, but even more amazing has been the impact you've been making on a few of my friends in Montana. Yesterday, after service, I received a message from one of those friends. Right after church, he sent me a message asking me to tell you thank you. Apparently, he spent most of his Saturday night, watching multiple recordings on YouTube. He was so inspired that he waited to go to work until yesterday's service was over. Since then, he's been sharing the videos with anybody that will listen to him. You have no idea what your heart and words have done for this man. He reached out to me for the first time in many years last week looking for someone he felt like he could trust. I'm going to skip over some of the part that might be a little personal. She says, my response came in a story about my journey under your covering. Well, let me go back. He says, he asked more and more questions. I sent him the YouTube link, and now I've heard from 4 other people that he has shared the videos with. You are a true representation of walking out your own teaching and in modeling ownership of self. You are touching lives of many. Thank you. You know I love you and your gifts separately and together. Thank you for showing my friend a sense of hope through inspiring him to take ownership and prompting him to make a change. Your words continue to save lives. So shout out to Montana. We're glad. Thanks. Thanks for sharing it. All right. Can we also move this pit crew, please? And just take my phone. Or no, all right, I'm going to put it over here. Because I don't want to start playing music and you won't know. Our challenge for last week was about stretching. And I understand taking a picture of yourself stretching is an accomplishment. And most of you did not attempt it. The reason I look in pain is because I was in pain. Stephen was stretching me, and I was taking a selfie, and that one. I don't even want to, Avery. I don't even want to know how you did that. I don't even want to know the backstory. And that's BJ up there. So I think many of you did it, and you didn't share, which I understand. It's like you got to. The challenge for this week is another nutritional one, and let me tell you how you can photograph it. I want, for some of you are already doing this, but I want you to try a week of going dairy-free. And the reason the way you can photograph is there's a lot of alternatives to dairy. Like if you put coconut milk in your coffee or almond milk in your cereal, snap a picture of that, because let me tell you why I take pictures of food. If I take a picture of a vegetable plate, I'm not lecturing you. I don't need somebody to go, I like my steaks well done. Like, I didn't ask you. I'm not telling you to be a vegetarian. I'm showing people, first of all, it's a beautiful plate, but it's alternatives, because a lot of times people, it's encouraging. Even you posted something this week about butterflies eat beautiful food, and that really impacted me. I thought, yeah, because there's really something important about eating colorful food. So when I take a picture of a vegetable plate, I'm not lecturing you about vegetarianism. I just think it's a beautiful plate, and it's something I can share, and it encourages people, and it gives people ideas, whatever. I didn't ask if you like Brussels sprouts or not. It's not a questionnaire like, what do you think about this? Like, I didn't ask you, and there's always somebody wants to tell you about, I ain't giving up my hamburgers. Well, I didn't go eat a freaking cow. I don't care. I'm just, that's your business. I'm just saying this is what I'm eating, and it looks really good, and I want to share it with you. And I feel really good. And you know, I'm not completely dairy free, and so I want to try it for a week and just see. Like the last few days, I've been drinking my coffee black, and I've had to get used to it. I'm going to tell you, I had to get used to it. But it's fine if the coffee's well made. It actually tastes better. You don't realize it until you. But a really good cup of coffee is fine black. So and once you go black, you know, you've heard. So there's that. What? I said it. What? I'm talking about coffee. Our outreach this month is the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And as I told you last week, I didn't even know this was Suicide Prevention Month. Just tapped into it. So we're in the flow of synchronicity. I'm finding the flow about a lot of things right now. I'd put it out there about possibly going to the Fox for Christmas, but I don't know. I'm not sure. That one's still kind of fuzzy for me. I texted Dana last night and I said I'm just thinking out loud about the Fox. If y'all have some other ideas, I'm open to them. And he said, well, let me talk to Hannah and get back to you. I said, well, let Jesus use you. And he texted me, Jesus be a fence. I was like, you ain't right. But we were in the flow about this, so that's good. And I don't know that much about this organization, but I know they're highly vetted and recommended. And so I'm glad that we're in the flow of that. Remember, we're in the countdown now. We're past a month from today. We will have already been to Cherokee and back. So all of next month is going to be meditation. I'm not having an artist next month. We're going to do a lot of meditation. So by the time we get to Cherokee, it's going to be really in the flow. We're going to be using, instead of the meditation music I've used before, we're going to use like indigenous music, like Native American flutes and that sort of thing. Because in that area, I want you to tap into the ancestors and the Native Americans. That's part of the reason why we're going there. And I think most of you already have your rooms, so I would encourage you, even if you don't know for sure you're going, go ahead and book a room, because usually have up until just about 48 hours before to cancel it. But it is their peak time of year, and I don't know for sure where we're going to go, but we've done fine with the previous two, and we will do fine on this one. So I mean, where we're going to go there, just because it's very crowded that weekend. But that's the weekend I want to go, and it's going to be good. And I don't want to oversimplify it, but really, if you just make a decision to do something, the universe starts backing up your decision. Most of what we thought back in the day was demons fighting us was just us being undecided about what we wanted. And once we decided, we decreed a thing. Like there's a lot of money. There's abundance everywhere. Money doesn't come to you because you haven't decided what you want to do with it. And once you decide, then you attract the wealth for it. So, let's see, was that everything? So remember, we will not be in the theater on October 21st. And so we will be in Cherokee, North Carolina. If you want to go up that Friday, we're going to go up Friday night and spend the night, and we'll be there Saturday. We'll do a sundown meditation on Saturday and a sunrise meditation on Sunday. There is something very special about different energies of sundown and sunrise, and they both really speak to you. And you go back and look at those pictures of St. Simon's, and you feel it. I mean, there's just an energy on what happened out there on that beach. And I know we go up into these beautiful woods in the fall, and it will be fall by then. It will be cool, and not too cold, but cool. And the leaves will be perfect. We're going to hit it just right. Come on, Jesus. Was that everything I needed to announce? Yes. Okay. We ready? Oh, I want to say, Charles, the rock god of podcasting, celebrated a birthday this week. So happy birthday, Charles McFall, who always does a great job. Leslie, if you're watching, I know it's her birthday today, and it's also Natalie's. But Natalie did a triathlon yesterday, which is amazing. And so happy birthday to her. And did anybody else have a birthday this week that we missed? Or got one coming up? All right. Well, I love you. Happy birthday, all September peoples. Okay. We ready for podcast, people? All right. Welcome to Metron Live Podcast, coming to you from beautiful, historic Midtown Atlanta. Metron people, would you give the Metron Live people a big hand and let them know that We're glad they are podcasting today. Our title this month of the series is Choose Life. We're taking that from Deuteronomy chapter 30. The rest of the title is Creating a Better Reality by Taking Full Ownership of Your Current One. I think probably in 46 years of preaching, I think I've probably referred to the first 3 chapters of Genesis, if not more than anything else, at least the most Old Testament I've ever referred to. I definitely see Genesis 1, 2, and 3 as the thesis of the Bible. I also want to say that when you read Genesis and Revelation, you've got to remember they're allegorical. These are not things to be taken literal. When you start thinking about a literal serpent speaking and that sort of thing, you really miss the point. And the literalists sort of hijack the revelation. Eastern people were mystics. So when they talked about, like when John saw a crystal river or a 7-headed dragon or these kind of things, these weren't literal things. They were symbolic. Even in Joel's prophecy where he talks about the moon will be turned to blood and the sun will be darkened, if you go back and read how these people thought, he was speaking prophetic imagery. He wasn't saying these were literally things that were going to take place. The Bible doesn't even really predict the end of the world. It talks about the end of an age, the end of a Mosaic age, the end of the law. So when people read into it and they try to literalize things that were meant to be spiritually discerned, you create this weird hybrid that becomes what we call evangelical Christianity, where people think there's a literal 1,000-year millennium. When the scripture talks about uses the word 1,000, he's talking about infinite, where he says God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He's not talking about literally 1,000 hills that God owns. Or when he says the mercy of the Lord is to your children and to 1,000 generations. 1,000 was in the ancient mind just technically meant infinity. So I'm saying that to say I went back this week and I'm visiting something in Genesis 3. I'm telling you, if you had asked me a week ago, is there anything in Genesis 3 you haven't seen, I would say, no, I think I'm an aficionado in Genesis 3. I think I got that. I've written, at least 2 of my books have been about that. So there's really nothing else in there. Well, guess what? There was more. That diamond has a lot of facets on it, and you turn it just a little bit, and it catches a whole other light. And I don't know if you call this spirit, Holy Spirit, intuition, inner voice, whatever. I don't try to name it anymore. The voice spoke to Adam, and he said, you just tell him I am sent you. So whatever the I am is, whoever the I am is. This doesn't happen to me every morning, because when I wake up in the morning, Ken leaves earlier than me, and I usually don't hear him leave. And so I probably get a couple more hours after that. And then when I wake up, I lay there for a minute and think, what day is it? Then I get up, check my messages, see what's going on, turn on the news. I have my little routine. But there's some mornings I wake up, and this happened to me Thursday morning, where I literally feel like revelation is sitting there looking at me, waiting to wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Because when I opened my eyes, I was aware of the presence. And the presence just speaks to me about things I'm not thinking about. So when I woke up, before I had a chance to think, let me turn on the news, see what's happened now, because I hate to say it, but that's what I think. Like, what's happened in the last 24 hours? Instead, I woke up and clear as a bell, I heard, the serpent didn't tell Adam he was naked. What? I don't even know what day it is yet. What are we talking about? I didn't go to bed thinking about Adam and Eve and meditating Genesis 3. Honestly, I haven't even read it in a while. I refer to it a lot, but sometimes you go back and read something you refer to and you think, well, I forgot that was in there or whatever. Genesis 3 is after Adam and Eve eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It begins by saying that God comes to walk with Adam in the cool of the day, as was his custom. This is after Adam and Eve have eaten, and the all-knowing, omniscient God still comes to walk with him in the cool of the day. That's, first of all, important. And those of you that have heard my voice, you know how many times I've talked about God brought the animals to Adam to see what he would name them. Whatever Adam called them, that's what God called them. And there's a whole teaching in that. And frankly, I'm not bragging, but I'm the only person I've ever heard teach on that. I'm just telling you, I've never heard anybody else talk about Adam naming the animals and what the significance of that was. Because what that says to me is whatever you call something is what Spirit calls it. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but today, everything Judah did was good today, but the thing that just, woo, it just went through me when you changed the lyric, because we're used to saying, God is for me. We got that from, Romans 8, if God be for us, who could be against us? We've heard that so much we don't even hear what we're saying anymore. But when you said, I am for me, not against me, I was like, okay, basically I don't need to teach now, because that's pretty much what I'm talking about today. Let me get back to this past Thursday. So the verse that I always refer to is when God comes to talk to Adam and Eve. And again, I believe this is allegorical. I just want you to know. I don't personally believe there was a literal Adam and Eve in a Garden of Eden. I hope that doesn't shock you. I believe the earth is billions of years old. I don't necessarily think we came from apes, but I do believe there was evolution. There's no doubt about it. They have found caves around Uganda where there are humanoids and hominids in the same cave together. So, when the Bible talks about the Nephilim and the giants, there is scientific proof. And so when Moses was talking about the earth being created in 6 24-hour periods, he was speaking poetically. He wasn't speaking as a scientist. That being said, the Genesis story is powerful, and Genesis 1, 2, and 3 has everything to do with how you think, the world that you create. We all were born into our own Garden of Eden. You had no control over, well, you may have had some control over how you were put into it, but you definitely have control over how you develop that garden, how you develop, and what word did you just say? Yeah. And so the whole thing about Adam calling the animals, that's not about animals, that's about you, whatever you call something. If you call a bad day, then God says, all right, it's a bad day. Which is why when God calls out to Adam, y'all got to bear with me, I'm feeling this really strong and I'm not even faking. Because that just went through me when you said, I am for me, not against me. Whoo, hoo, hoo. All right, I've got to say this. God calls out, Adam, where are you? Adam runs and hides. Adam finally says, I heard you calling for me in the garden, and I hid because I was afraid, and I hid because I was naked. And in chapter 2 is where God brought the animals to Adam to see what he would name them. So what that means is Adam is given the authority on the earth to decide what the reality is. He's God on the earth. Yeah. Yes. The Creator, you said it, the Creator created creators. This whole thing about you sitting back waiting for God to do something, you're wasting your time. That's not why you were put here, to wait and see what's God going to do. Like you're so wasting your time. Whatever and whoever God is looking at you saying, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Decree a thing and I'll establish it. And if you want to call that him and believe the Judeo-Christian God, that's the God I know. So I have no argument with you on that. But because God said, "What if you call a kangaroo, I'll have to call it a kangaroo. If you call a zebra, I'll have to call it a zebra. So if you call yourself naked, then I have to call you naked. If you call yourself afraid, then I have to call you afraid. I don't see you that way. Your eating of the tree makes no difference to me, but because it's caused you to perceive yourself differently, you called yourself less than, so I have no choice but to call you less than because I gave you the authority on the earth." Now, I've said that before. That's not new. We've been saying that for years. Here's the part, and I haven't not said it, but I haven't said it. Because the question is, I'm going to show you this verse out of the Concordant Literal Version. The question is, who told you you were naked? Now, we've talked about that. Like, who told you you were poor? Who told you were stupid? Who told you were ugly? Who told you were whatever? So I'm telling you, through my years of counseling, most issues that people have is they're under the spell of somebody else. Somebody else has spoken words over them, and they have believed those words, and those words have become their reality. That's basically what counseling is you trying to undo the spell that somebody's under because somebody told you. And it usually happens in childhood. Somebody tells you, and if a parent or an authority figure doesn't tell you something positive, just the negative pull of the world is like undertow, and it will cause you to fill in the blanks. And unless you're surrounded by positive people, you will end up you'll end up self-sabotaging. So I've been teaching this for years. Who told you you were naked? I've even put it on Facebook before, just as a hypothetical question. Who told you you were naked? And some people get it, some people don't. You know, some people think, I wasn't naked today. I'm like, oh, I'm not talking to you. Talking to let he who has ears hear. Because what I mean is, who told you you were poor? Who told you you were less than? Who told you you were stupid? But the implication, I've never said it, but the implication has always been, well, the serpent told him he was naked, right? I mean, isn't it kind of the... I've never said it, but isn't that what's sort of been implied? And Spirit really wanted me to set the record straight on this today. Because it wasn't the serpent. And I've kind of said that, but I haven't really said it. Who told you you were naked? Well, I said I was. In response to, well, let me show you. Whoo, Jesus, help me get this said. This is Genesis 3, verses 9 through 11. This is the Concordant Literal Version, which is straight out of the Hebrew, and the Hebrew is always in present tense. So here's how it says. And calling is Yahweh Elohim to the human, and he is saying to him, Adam, where are you? And saying is he to him, the sound of you walking hear I in the garden, and fearful am I, for naked am I, and I am hiding. This was where all religion began. This idea, and religion isn't just going to church with stained glass windows and an organ. Religion is any belief system that you have created to try to hide who you really are. And most people most people in the Bible Belt here do it through religion. But religion isn't just going to church. There are people that call themselves atheists that are very religious. They don't realize they have a creed, they have a doctrine. You know what? Everybody's got a doctrine. It may or may not have come from the Bible, but everybody's got a doctrine, a belief system. There's a set of beliefs that you buy into by which you create your reality. And God, the only thing that whatever and whoever God is has to do with it is he, she, it created you to create it. But this idea that I see the hand of God, and like for instance, somebody posted this week, and I thought this was so insightful. With the hurricane that just happened, and people's houses underwater, and still aren't. You know, it's like I can't imagine. I've never had to evacuate my home for a disaster. I'm sure that's got to do something to your head. I'm sure that's got to be traumatic, even if nobody dies. Just the idea of seeing your stuff underwater, I don't even know how to empathize with it. And I know, I grew up on the 91st Psalm, 1,000 will fall at my side, 10,000 at my right hand. I mean, I know people who, I knew a family who lived in a apartment complex that burned, and every unit in that complex burned except theirs. So I've got all kind of stories like that. The problem with that story, however, is the person who did lose everything, whose child did die in it, when you're giving your big praise report about, look what God did for me, look what God did for me, they can't, even if they don't realize they're internalizing this, they're thinking, well, what's wrong with me? Why didn't God do that for me? Now, I'm not telling you not to expect the best. We went over, Friday night we went out to eat, And when Mom texts Ken, I always know that means something's gone wrong in the house, and Dad can't fix it. So she thought their refrigerator had gone on the clink, and she was afraid everything was going to melt in the freezer and everything. And I could hear, when he checked the message, I could hear her voice on the phone. He was telling me, I said, no, I already heard. I said, ask her if she wants us to come over, because I just knew we just need to go over and look at it, or otherwise I'm going to tell her no, and then I'm going to get in bed tonight and go, you're going to regret this one day that you didn't go look at her refrigerator. There's probably nothing wrong with it, but you got to go ease that woman's mind so you can go home and go to sleep. I don't know if you've ever had it, if you've ever been an only child with elderly parents, but it's a head trip all the time. Well, that's how they knew about it, because they did get an ice cream. I said, well, Dad, you're not even supposed to be giving Dad ice cream anyway. She said, it's his only joy in life. I said, all right, I'm just telling you, that's why he doesn't feel good, because he's not supposed to be eating sugar. Well, anyway, I said, well, it's going to be a while, but we'll be out there. So we schlepped out there, got there about 10 o'clock Friday night. And usually Ken walks in and knows immediately what it was. But he couldn't figure it out. And he stood there and looked at the manual, and we couldn't figure it out and couldn't figure it out and couldn't figure it out. We sat there long enough to finally said, look, I don't think we're going to get an answer tonight. Your frozen stuff, Don came over and got that and took it to his freezer, especially the ice cream. And I said, well, when we bring food over Sunday night, we'll check it again. If not, we'll call who's the maker? Kenmore. We'll call the Kenmore guy. Here's the number. We'll get somebody out. We'll get it fixed. But in the meantime, before we left, I put my hands on it, and I said, I want you to start working again. Begin. It may be a coincidence. Last night I called. I said, what's going on with your refrigerator? She said, it was the craziest thing. It's like it went through a metamorphosis. It's like it died and it came back to life. Everything's fine. Everything's freezing. I said, well, we'll look at it Sunday night, but I think I spoke it back to life. I don't know. Because sometimes, a prophet's not without honor except in his own country. So sometimes Mom does it. You know what I mean? Mom's not sure I shut up the dog. You know what I mean? She's like, I think those people think you're too. I'm just telling you, I told the dog, shut up, shut up. It might have been a coincidence. I'm just telling you, I spoke to your refrigerator, and it's working fine now. And she didn't argue with me this time. I said, you know what? I can do no mighty miracles in my hometown. If you say, is not this Joseph the carpenter's son, I'm not going to be able to, I can do no mighty miracles here because of your unbelief. So she's like, all right, I do believe. Help thou my unbelief. I thought, all right, that's all right. So I'm saying, you're wasting your time praying for stuff. Just speak it, fix stuff. Now, I don't want to lose my Jesus take the wheel clause for those times that you do feel overwhelmed and you're like, oh, where's an AA group? I need a higher power. Now. So sometimes just the sheer pressure of feeling like you're totally responsible for your life is overwhelming. So I get the need for, I need a higher power. I'm not taking that away from you. I'm just saying, I am for me. All right, look what he says here. And saying is he to him, did anyone tell you that you are naked? I don't know if you ever walked on somebody that was changing or whatever. If they're really naked, they know. I mean, there's no, you don't just walk in and go, who told you were naked? I mean, you could tell they are. You don't have to ask. So clearly, God does not see Adam as naked. I nearly wish there'd been another word, because we associate nakedness with something that this is not talking about. When God came to see him, it wasn't like Adam's going, oh, let me get it. Let me find a fig leaf. I mean, first of all, if you're going to believe God created him, God already knew what he looked like. So, you know what I mean? It's like, this must not be talking about nudity as we know it. This isn't a modesty issue. And when they fashion leaves together, the actual word is tunic. It's not loincloth. They're not covering their private parts. They're trying to create something that made them feel like divinity again. Because when their perception changed, they lost the idea of divinity, what we call the fall of man. God never saw it. I'm telling you, people, God never saw it. What about Jesus dying on the cross? Jesus died on the cross for people that believed that God thought they were naked. Why else do you think Jesus was naked on the cross? I mean, Jesus was literally, that was part of the execution was not just the pain, but it was the humiliation of it. To put somebody naked on a cross and nail their hands so they can't, your instinct is to cover yourself with your arm. You can't do that. You're exposed. He said, if I am lifted up, oh, Lord. I don't even like to have a picture taken of me up this way because it's not a good angle. So if you're on a cross and you're lifted up, it's the most naked, the most humiliated, the most what. So it's Jesus saying, you think you're disconnected from God. Paul tapped into it. Paul came along and said, you were alienated from God where? In your minds. So he says, did anyone tell you that you were naked? From the tree of which alone I instruct you to avoid eating, from it did you eat. Now, I'm not going to read all these verses to you, but this is what happens. Adam says, well, Adam never answers the question. He never acknowledges the question. He says, the woman you gave me that. So it's blame, blame, blame. Always watch out for those people that think everybody's out to get them. When somebody's super paranoid and they think there's something wrong with that. You can't go through life, and I'm not telling you to be stupid. Jesus said, be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But you can't go through life thinking everybody's out to get you. If you think the system is against you, and I know there's systematic racism. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just the building blocks of the universe. If you think the system is rigged against you, you self-sabotage every minute of the day. What you have to say is, well, if the system is rigged, I'm going to find a way to beat the system. I'll be the exception to the rule. That's how you meet your Creator in the cool of the day. So he says, it's the woman you gave me. It's her fault, it's your fault. Then the woman says, well, it's the serpent that spoke to me. And they get this whole, you can't take this literally or it doesn't make sense. Because he goes on to say, well, we're going to have to remove them from the garden because now they've eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If they eat from the tree of life, they'll be like gods. Well, they just said 2 chapters ago, let us make man in our image. So if you take this literally, it's just convoluted. You've got to hear this thing spiritually. But here's the part, in all these years of teaching, I never saw it, at least not like I see it now. The serpent had very little to do with this. The only thing the serpent did was bring up a conversation. Has not God said? To which, if you're going to follow this narrative, Eve should have said, because he says, has God not said if you eat of this tree you'll be like him? What she should have said is, we already are like him. We were created, that was the reason we're here. It would have been the end of the conversation. This is what I never saw before. It's not what somebody says to you, it's the situation that becomes the catalyst that causes you to say something to yourself. It's like, they'll say, sometimes when children are divorced, when their parents divorce, the children think it's their fault. You think, well, why would a kid even think that? Because if somebody doesn't tell you otherwise, you respond to a crisis and you have to say something about it, so you end up saying to yourself the lowest common denominator. Well, this must be my fault. I'm not telling you not to take ownership of things that you've done in your life, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that you've been blamed for that you did not do. I've been accused of things I'm like, I'm just not going to accept that. That's just not true. That's not true. If you believe it's true, it becomes your truth. Some people go through their whole life living somebody else's truth. Well, let me take that back. Responding to somebody else's influence and self-inflicting a lie. Who told you were naked? Adam didn't say the serpent. He said, I did eat of the tree because the woman you gave me told me to. But he didn't. The naked thing was his idea. You know, it's strange. I went through a little altercation with somebody. This has been a good while back. Online, somebody was writing, and what they wrote to me is, "You're not better than me." And I thought, where did that come from? Why would you even? Where does that come from? I've never even thought that I'm better than you. Like, I can't even trace anything I've ever said that would cause you to even have to say that to me. And I thought, I'm telling you, I've been around rich people. I've been around successful people. I've met movie stars. In the course of watching an hour or two of television, I tell Ken so many people that sometimes I go, I'm not making this up, right? Because it's not like they're people I'm friends with, but we'll watch TV and I go, we passed them on the street one time on Fifth Avenue. It's true. Judah could tell you, we've seen they wouldn't know me if I walked into a crowd, but I have some story I can tell you. I met them. I saw them on Broadway. I've met a lot of famous people in my life. It has never one time crossed my mind they're better than me. Ever. Actually, if I see somebody that's very confident, I think, oh, well, they must have achieved certain things in life that made them have that kind of confidence. Or they're an idiot to think that they're that great because they're not all that great. But I still don't connect the dots that I'm better than them. And when sometimes somebody will say something and you think, wow, that was very revelatory what you just said. Why would you even think that? I remember as early as I was in first grade, my dad, we pastored a church in Macon, and he worked with this woman. I remember Miss Agnes Claire Arnold was her name, and she used to go into the prisons there in Macon. And I would go with him sometimes, and I remember standing on a piano bench and singing Jesus Loves Me for the inmates, and I remember them crying. I grew up seeing incarcerated people. It never one time crossed my mind to say, I'm better than you. If anything, I think, you know what? If I had your same set of circumstances and had the same realities you're dealing with, I very probably would have ended up in the same place. So I never thought, ever. We walk in the city a lot. And when you walk, especially around my building, indigent people are everywhere. So you get used to saying, nobody, I can't do it. And because people come up to you, I'm not exaggerating. And like on any given Saturday, if we walk all day, it'll be from 15 to 20 people that come up to you and say, have you got a minute? And I'm used to going, no, I can't do it tonight. Not tonight. I always make eye contact. If somebody says I'm hungry, I've bought more food than anybody in this place has. But I also am used to going, no, I can't do it tonight. And it's no big deal. We walked to dinner one night this week, and I'm just, you could see the guy, when you're walking down this, like, I know, here it comes. And so I was in no zone. I'm like, no, I can't do it tonight. Can't do it tonight. And this guy with no legs comes wheeling up on a wheelchair, and I'm like, crap. I can't tell this guy no. And I can't say I don't have any cash because I do have a 20. I have a $20 bill in there. Because usually I don't have cash. I usually say, no, I just have a debit card, which is the truth. That man, I was like, no. I'm like, oh, legless guy. And I'm going to be honest with you. I actually looked and said, please tell me I've just got a couple of ones. And he was like, nope, just a big, nice 20. I knew I'm going to have to give it to him because if I go, there's no way. I know I have to deal with myself when I get home. I'm going to get home. I'm going to see that man coming up Peachtree, and I'll be hearing like, the stuff you spend $20 on, I never think about it. No, I took that out and I said, here, get something to eat. And he, in his little hands, he said, I can get so much more than something to eat from this. I'm like, I was like so happy because now you have to understand, I'm a city boy. And I have people come up and tell me a story that already told me that story. Like one night we were walking out of Eats, and a guy came up with a story, and I said, you already told me this story. He said, no, I didn't. I said, yeah, about a week ago I was on Peachtree, and I didn't give you money, but Ken gave you money. And, some guy said, well, you buy me something to eat? I said, I bought you something to eat last week. I mean, I'm telling you, I live with these people. So I'm not just the indifferent rich white man that doesn't care. Like, no, I'm feeding a lot of people. So I say, but I also say no a lot, but not with the wheelchair guy. I'm like, okay. I mean, if all I'd had was 100, I would have had to give that to him because why am I telling that? There was some point in that, huh? There was some point. Oh, no, yes, that's what it was. Even when I'm going to be honest with you. There's sometimes when I drive on the underpass next to my building and I see that people are starting to camp out and pee on the sidewalk and stuff, I'm going to tell you the truth. There's a part of me that goes, oh, y'all please don't set up a tenement place next to my building like y'all had over on Pine. I'm just going to tell you. I do. But if somebody comes up to me and says they're hungry, I always feed them. And I never think I'm better than them. I think, oh, y'all, please get it together. Move to another block. Am I being too real? But here's the point of this. Who told you were naked? I want to talk to you a little bit before we close today about self-talk. But let me show you one more Bible story. This is New Testament. This is John chapter 4. This is Jesus in Samaria with the woman at the well. This is John chapter 4, verse 20. That must be 21 through 24. My bad. In the Message. It says, this is where he talks to the woman, and he says, but the time is coming. It has in fact come when what you're called will not matter and where you go to worship will not matter. It's who you are and the way you live that count before God. Go ahead. Your worship must engage your spirit in the pursuit of truth. That's the kind of people the Father is out looking for. Those who are simply and honestly themselves before Him in their worship. Do you know what He's talking about? Remember? Jesus, as a Jewish man speaking to a Samaritan woman at this time, would have been like an African-American man speaking to a white woman in Alabama in the 50s. Okay? Or even some places today. Because remember, he says, give me to drink. And she's like, why are you even talking to me? And he says, if you knew the water I have, you'd know you'll never be thirsty again if you drink this water. This is the woman at the well. And she says, well, tell me where I can get this water. And he says, go call your husband. And without blinking, she says, well, I don't have a husband. And he says, well, you have well said, for you've had 5 husbands, and the man you're living with now is not your husband. But then he goes on to say, the Father is looking for people like you. What, people that can't find the right man? No, people who aren't scrambling around in the garden trying to sew fig leaves together. People who he says God is a spirit, and they that worship Him must worship Him in spirit and truth. You can't know God until you know yourself. And if you're still lying about yourself, when people ask me, What was your relationship with God like after you came out? Better than ever, because I told the full truth about myself. I have nothing to hide. I'm bulletproof. I'm not scared. If somebody says, "Oh, that's so gay," I'm like, "Well, okay, you know." I don't see that as an insult. And he says the Father's looking for people who just tell the truth. Because people, so much of, not all of church, but so much of church is just an elaborate masquerade party. People go to church and they put on this mask and they act like somebody else for a couple of hours and then they go back to their life. Totally. That's why when somebody asks me, "Do you have a gay church?" I'm like, "No, I don't have a gay church. I don't want a gay church. I want a church where people can walk in and say, 'This is my husband, this is my wife,' whatever," and nobody says, "What?" They're just like, "Oh, okay, hey, nice to meet you." That's the world I live in. That's the world I'm creating, where people just are themselves with no agenda. I'm telling you, I'm never going to march in a gay pride parade. That's not even my radar screen. I do, however, love that I've created an environment here, that we've created an environment where that's not a deal breaker for somebody. You know, that people can just, like, this is who they are. Okay, fine. Because Jesus tells this woman, and you know what her response was? She runs into town and says, "Come meet a man who told me everything I ever did." She wasn't put off by it. She was like, "Yeah, I've been through some stuff. I've had 5 husbands." She's not trying to hide it. And he says, this is how the Spirit works. The Spirit works through people knowing who they are, telling the truth about who they are, and being okay with that truth. Let me show you there's some quotes I want to show you. This is Gino Norris says this: "Your self-talk is the channel of behavior change." The next one, Beverly Engel says this: "Turn down the volume of your negative inner voice and create a nurturing inner voice to take its place. When you make a mistake, forgive yourself, learn from it, and move on instead of obsessing about it. Equally important, don't allow anyone else to dwell on your mistakes or shortcomings or to expect perfection from you." Meaning, if you make a mistake, own it, let it go, move on. But see, if you don't tell the truth about it, you just push it down somewhere, and that's why it keeps resurfacing, and you keep putting Band-Aids on it and try to make yourself better, feel better about it, and just say, "Oh, well, they started it, or they shouldn't have said that." Well, it doesn't matter. At a certain point, you just have to say, this is why I told you this the other day, I've never doubted I was anointed. I've doubted every other thing about my life at one time or another. I've wondered, am I a good husband? Am I a good father? Am I a good friend? I've even wondered, am I a good pastor? I've never asked myself if I'm anointed. I've always, with every fiber of my DNA, I've always known that. Now, just because you're anointed doesn't mean you don't have some character issues to work on. You still have a personality. You can still get your feelings hurt. You can still take things personally. What I have found, however, is the more evolved you become, it's not even an effort not to take things personally anymore. I mean, really, you can understand how Jesus could say, "Father, forgive them, they don't know what they do." I mean, you talk about liberty when you don't even have to, like, I want to explain this to my social media people. If I delete a comment or even take it so far as to unfriend you or block you, I'm not afraid of you. If you want to argue about something, I can argue, and I'm going to give you some fair warning. I can usually win an argument. I've dealt with more confrontation in my life than the average person has. I'm not afraid of that. I just don't care about it anymore. Like when somebody wants to send me some Bible verses or whatever, I'm like, "Sweetie, you don't even know. You're so ignorant of the Scriptures, there'd be no way for me to even argue this point with you." It's like you're so clueless, I can't even engage. Like some people say, "Well, you should argue with me about it." No, baby, no. you're so uninformed. It would be like arguing calculus with somebody that's a calculus professor. If you don't know anything about it, you just need to, like, there's some things I know, that's not my thing. You saw that picture of Stephen stretching me. I was thinking, because he's pulling my arms back, I thought, dear Lord, I'd hate to get in a fight with this guy. Because if he pinned me, I would have no, like, don't ever get mad at me, because I like he's pinning me back. I'm like, ow, ow. He says, say when. I'm like, when? Yeah, that wasn't a fake picture. That was like, oh. I mean, I like it, but shoo-hoo. So I know there's no point in me saying, let's go out in this parking lot and see, because I already know the answer to that. And he already knows the answer to that. If I went crazy one day and said, let's take this outside, I think he would have presence of mind to say, no, I'm not going to take you out in the parking lot and I'm not going to do that. Now, there might be some other areas I'm like, I can win there, but not there. You have to know, like, well, no, this is like, he's bigger than me. He's a bodybuilder. Like, that's not rocket science. Like, there's nobody saying, you think you could take him? No, of course I couldn't. Some people are. Yes. That's what happens to some people when they're inebriated or whatever. They think. I used to have a little Chihuahua that would bark at the German Shepherd. It's like, and he would just get right in that German Shepherd's face. And I think, you have no concept of your size. That dog could literally swallow you in one bite, and he doesn't know. And there's something to be said for that. That's how David beat Goliath, because he did not. Where I've told you this so many times, but it's my only NBA story. But way back in the day, this was back when Dominique Wilkins played for the Hawks. I was asked to be the chaplain. So I'm there. I took Jared. Jared was little then. He got a picture of Dominique where I'm sitting. You don't realize how ginormous these NBA are. That's when they were playing the 76ers with Manute Bol, the guy from Africa he's over 7 feet tall. I mean, they literally are giants. They're just like the biggest men you've ever seen. So for some insane reason, I chose the text of when the Israelites went into Canaan, and it says, we saw the giants and we saw ourselves as grasshoppers. And it's a great teaching about how the Israelites, because they saw themselves as grasshoppers, they were. But I said, there was a white guy who used to play in there named John Concack. He had ginormous feet. And he's sitting right next to me. And I said, I mean, they had to be like size 15, 16. I said, have you ever felt insignificant and felt like you were a grasshopper and there were giants? And all of these NBA players look at me blankly like, no. I mean, they are giants. As I said it, I looked down at John Concack's foot and I thought, no, you haven't, have you? And this is like, what the hell why am I using this? Because I love that teaching. And most places you go, people relate to it. Like, oh yeah, I've self-sabotaged all my life. Not these guys. They might have thought other things, but they never thought they were small. Lesson learned from that. Always find the appropriate scripture. That one wasn't it. And you follow that into, what was I thinking? All these years later, the Hawks never invited me back. They never said, we need to get that guy that tapped into our feelings. There's no. Like some of the things that people say, like, money can't buy happiness. Well, it can buy a little bit. It can buy a little bit. It can't fix everything, but it can make you happy. I mean, it's just true. Like people say, well, I used to hear a preacher say, all those people out in the club tonight, they ain't having fun. Yeah, they may regret it tomorrow, But I'm pretty sure they're having a little fun tonight. I mean, for right now, if they are miserable, they're not aware of their misery. It's not going to fix their problems, but to say they're not having a good time, that's a lie, because obviously they're having a good time. I mean, on Friday night, sometimes we'll drive down the streets, and some of these clubs around here, people will be lined around the block at 11 o'clock trying to get in the club. Well, yeah. This is the great Nathaniel Hawthorne. This is archaic language, but very well said. He says, the sick in mind and perhaps in body are rendered more darkly and hopelessly so by the manifold reflection of their disease, mirrored back from all quarters in the deportment of those about them. They are compelled to inhale the poison of their own breath in infinite repetition. Who told you you were sick? Who told you you were naked? The answer is, well, I told myself in response to eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Why was that the catalyst? Because here's the thing. If you see everything in your life filtered through the paradigm of good versus evil, you're going to constantly be trying to figure out how to navigate, you're just going to be in survival mode all the time. If, however, you just say, look, I see everything through the tree of life. I don't see everything as good or bad. It's just life. This past week was the year anniversary of my father-in-law passing. So Ken wanted the family to go visit his grave and honor year anniversary, and they did, and we did, and it was nice. And we stood around I'm sort of for his family, I'm the one that always asks the blessing, always, I'm the guy. So he asked me to sort of coordinate it. And I said, is there anything anybody wants to say about Mr. Monty? And different people were sharing anecdotes and stuff. I said, well, I'm just going to tell you this, and I hope you all agree. I hope you can agree with this. I said, I know Ken was ready to take his dad home and go through hospice and all that kind of stuff because that's the type of person he is. I said, frankly, I'm happy that he was spared all of that. I said, I know y'all didn't want to lose him, but I've seen people go through leukemia, and it's horrible. And I'm glad he was spared so much of that indignity. And that doesn't mean I'm happy he died. I'm saying I'm glad, because I know a year ago on Sunday he was with him. He said we took him to the hospital, and I as soon as he texted me, I thought, well, they're not going to take him out. He didn't think that. He was ready, prepared to, he was ready to order a bed and walk with him to the last mile. I'm like, if he's not going to get better on this side, let's let him go and rest. Now, you decide which thing it is. It doesn't mean you don't cry over it. It doesn't mean you don't miss somebody. But you don't see it through the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It's just a thing that happens. When people say, do you want to live to be 120? Let me give you that. I want to live to be 120 as long as I'm healthy and in my right mind. Just the idea of seeing how long I can go and be miserable, that doesn't sound good to me. I think you need to define your terms. Because if you just say, I want to live a long life, well, I want to live a long quality life. Because if I'm just miserable and in pain and sick, no, I'd rather just go on, go towards the light, Carol Ann. I'm just telling you. And I'm probably, because I've been around death and dying my whole life, I probably am too matter of fact about it. I'm just like, well, if it's time to go on. If we can get better, then let's get better. But let's not stay in that in-between state for your sake. Just to stay there and be miserable. No, that's not abundant life. You got to define your terms. Like I've told you, there's another story I've told you many times. I'm an Alec Baldwin fan. We were born on the same day. Not just the same date, same day. So for years I've thought, I want to tell Alec Baldwin we were born the same. I want to meet Alec Baldwin and tell him we were born on the same day. We go to New York for my birthday. He's in a Broadway show. The night before it's like 15 minutes till Alec Baldwin's and my birthday. We're standing outside the theater. He comes out signing people's autographs. Alec, I was born on the same day. We're both about to be, it was 5 years ago. I said, we're both about to be 55 in 15 minutes. He said, okay. And got in the limousine. And I realized I should have thought this through a little more. Because I thought the implication was, well, come on, let's be best buds. We're born the same day. Let's go do shots together. And I thought, well, I got exactly what I said. I said, I want to tell Alec Baldwin we're born the same day. I did. And that was all I got. You can't believe how blank he looked. And he's like, all right. I'm like, no. I visualized this for years. You're not doing it right. This is, I should have thought this through. So if I say I want to live long, there needs to be an addendum to that. I want to live long and be healthy and keep all my faculties. And look, again, that's not just something you do to say, I'm praying I'm going to live. You got to work at it. You can't eat crap every day and expect to be healthy. You can't not exercise your muscles and expect them not to atrophy. That's just a law of nature. So if you're going to live long and be healthy and prosper, then you have to take care of yourself now. I'm telling you, I want to think I'm the new face of 60, but I'm aware you can't eat like that. You're 60 now. There's some things you can't. You know what I mean? That's just a law of nature. When you were a kid, remember you got trick or treat. Jerry Seinfeld does the thing about going trick or treat. He says you'd have a whole bowl full, like you'd have so much candy in a bowl that it would be bowing on the top. He said at night you eat every piece of that candy. Wake up the next morning, feel fantastic. And I could remember I wasn't that much of a sugar head, but I mean I could mainline some candy. Not now. I'm telling you, yesterday I ordered a little turkey sausage with some eggs yesterday, and I was like, I just don't think I can eat meat anymore. Like, what is happening to me? And it was turkey. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just saying, because I said, I think that turkey sausage made my stomach feel weird. And he says, because you haven't been eating meat. I said, well, maybe you're right. I'm not telling you to be vegetarian. Don't send me messages about your chicken wings. I don't care. That's on you. I'm just saying, if you want to be prosperous, there's some things you got to do. I love that, that thing you say when you look in somebody's palm. I can read palms. You see that M in your palm? That means you're going to have money in your life. Now turn it upside down. See that W? Means you're going to have to work for it. The harder you work, the luckier you become. All right, let's finish this up. Gavin Mills says this. I am often amused and sometimes amazed by the free-rein constructs of my mind. That is why I converse regularly with myself. I am one of my better friends. I am for me. I am not. Man, that makes me want to rethink that scripture. If I am for me, who can be against me? Because this is where your enemies come in. Sharks are drawn to blood. And the areas where you feel insecure and insignificant, people will come in and manipulate that area where you feel most vulnerable. If you already know who you are, it's like Jesus saying, Satan has come to me, but there's nothing in me. But it all comes out of you. And the more you know who you are, the less you have to prove to anybody. You're just like, yeah, I think you're great. I think I'm great. I want you to do well. I want me to do well. You don't have to be less than for me to be more than. There's enough abundance to go around. Let's all be great together. We're all in this together. But that comes from, if you don't have a healthy self-esteem, and a healthy self-esteem comes from not telling yourself constantly that you're naked. You know what Adam should have said? He shouldn't have been ashamed. He shouldn't have seen naked as something negative. I had to clean that up a little bit. That's my point. There's a comedian I heard one time, and just don't judge me on this. A comedian said, the other day, I'm in a hotel, didn't have a stitch of clothes on, and the maid walks in. Finally. No, don't quote me on that. But his point was, I'm not excusing sexual harassment. What I'm saying is, if you think nakedness should not have been a negative connotation. I'm not telling y'all to run around naked everywhere. I'm just saying the word took on negative baggage. Right. The shame, yes. Absolutely. I remember when I was a single dad, I had Jared and Christina, and I had them in the bathtub, and I'd ordered a pizza. The pizza guy came, Christina just up out of that bathtub, runs, opens up. The guy's like, oh, okay. I said, excuse us, it's bath time, and dinner just arrived. Christina, get back in. But I thought, well, she just has no sense of shame. And there's always that moment when the first time you hear that click on the bathroom, like, oh, they've become self-conscious. Which they should be. Again, I'm not telling you just to run around. I'm not telling you that. I'm saying, when did body shaming get connected? Because it sure was a part of my growing up. We were always taught, man, are you kidding? Ooh. Right. Exposed. Naked basically is transparent. He could have said, I became transparent and I hid from you. Whereas if you know who you are, then you're like, well, I've already told my story, and the story I tell to myself is a good one. I speak to myself. David was totally tapped into this. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that's within me. Bless his holy name. That's him speaking to himself. David encouraged himself in the Lord. Why art thou cast down on my soul? And why? Yes, he did. There was a time, remember when the Ark of the Covenant came in? And the thing is, David liked the ladies. You know what I'm saying? So when the Ark of the Covenant came in, he didn't strip off totally naked, but he was down to what they call an ephod, which would be like his underwear. And he was dancing, and his wife, Michal, saw him and judged him. She said, I know the naughtiness of your heart. You were dancing for those women. And the thing is, that probably wasn't out of character for David. That would be within the realm of possibility for him to be doing that. And what did he say? Because you have said this to me, now I will dance the much more wildly. And he wasn't punished. She was stricken with barrenness and never had a child after that. So God apparently looked at him and said, that David, I just can't make him feel ashamed. I mean, and I love it. The response should have been, yeah, baby, I just got, I just lost my head. I'm sorry, baby, I won't do it again. He's like, next time I'm taking it all off. But you nearly, to walk in righteousness, consciousness, you nearly have to be that radical with it. Jesus was. How do you know about Abraham? With you not even being 50 years old. Before Abraham was, I am. Baby, you can't say to a bunch of Jewish scholars, before Abraham was, I am. Do you know how many things are wrong with that statement? That's going to get you killed. And guess what? It did get him killed. And guess what? He said, well, I'll be back. You can crucify me, but in 72 hours, I'll be back. What? How do you kill that guy? Then finally, this guy Sam Owen says, via self-talk, we give our mind instructions on what we expect of ourselves, and so behave accordingly. Change the instructions, and we change the outcomes. I'm going to tell you just something as simple as this. If you're going to run in the morning, if you're going to walk, if you're going to work out, just something as simple as saying, I'm going to have a good workout today. You don't feel it immediately. As a matter of fact, you may feel just the opposite. There's some days you think, I don't want to do this today. If you just at least will say, I'm going to feel good today, I'm going to get stronger, I'm going to be better, you won't sense it immediately. But you watch, just a little bit. It may take an hour or so, but a little bit, you'll start having a really good workout, and you'll feel really good, and you'll be really happy that you did it. But if you constantly self-sabotage, I hate leg day, you're going to have a horrible leg day. You're going to get nauseous. You have to, I'm not saying you don't feel fatigue or soreness or whatever. If you're going to commit to something, you better be happy about it. I got to shut up, but I've become so aware of this that even, I told you this, like when the last time we were in California, we had such a good time and it went so fast. And we were packing up, about to go back to the airport, and I started to post, I'm not ready to go home yet. And something checked me. I thought, you know what? I don't need to put that out there because my words are powerful. And I don't want to drive to LAX and get on the plane and them say, we don't understand it. We've had some kind of mechanical difficulty. And I'm like, oh, crap. I have created obstacles. Either change your plans and stay another day, or say, I can't wait to get back to my beautiful home. You know one reason why when we do go out of town, when I come back, if you'll notice, the first thing I'll do is I'll go to my window and take a picture of my view, because I want to be blessed when I go out. I want to be blessed when I come back in. Because if I say, I'm not ready to go home yet, I'm gonna be sending out negative stuff, and you're gonna get there and something's going to be broken. There's going to be some, it's going to be something. You go, oh, it always happens every time we go. Watch those words, always and never. Y'all stand up or I'm going to keep talking all day. I love talking about this. Is this powerful? Did you get anything out of this? And again, it's not that I haven't said. The implication was the serpent told him that. That's kind of what's been implied. And it's not. The serpent said other things, but that serpent never said, ha, 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 you are naked. He said that. Selah. Play the takeout for the YouTube people, please.
Contributing to Metron is quick and easy. Simply text
Easy
the amount you would
peasy.
like to give to 404-620-5044. And now you can give anytime by texting this number. You will then receive a one-time registration form that links your phone number and opens your account at SimpleGive. Complete the form and you will then receive a successful registration and donation page. For additional information on your account, visit bishandthenow.com and click the support tab.
If you're making a check,
Then my online donation.
make it to JESM.
When you contribute to Metron, you're also supporting the charity or organization of the month.
Danny will receive it. If you have
Thank you for
cash,
your investment in Metron.
pay it forward, bless somebody. You might want to bless Judah or take somebody to lunch or find a guy with no legs in a wheelchair. I'm telling you, you can't say like, there's no way I'm going to tell this guy no. There's no way. You win. I speak over your inner monologue. I say that you bless yourself with the words of your mouth. And quite possibly the strongest thing that was said today was in the lyrics of his song, I am for me. I am not against me. Don't become your own best friend, not your own worst enemy. So I bless your thoughts. I bless your dreams. I bless the words of your mouth. I bless the thoughts that you think. You're going to have an excellent day. You're going to wake up tomorrow saying, this is the day the Lord has enabled me to make. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I love you so much. See you next week.